All right, day 2, New Testament challenge. We're reading through the book of Matthew. Today we're in Matthew chapter 2. We see Matthew continuing to paint the picture for us of Jesus at a young age, and we get a lot of background information here from Matthew, but it is extremely important. And Matthew is continuing his theme from Matthew chapter 1 of connecting Jesus to the prophecies that the Jews would have known from long ago. And so we read from verses 1 through 12 of the Magi, what we call the wise men, oftentimes wanting to come and see Jesus. And the wise men come and they come to Herod and they say, this is very interesting. In verse 2 it says, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him." They're saying this to the king. And so as king, if you were king of a nation, you say, hey, where's this other king? You would be upset as well. And so we see here in Scripture that this disturbed Herod. And so in his mind, Herod's like, well, I want to go visit him too. But deep down, he wanted to visit him so he could kill him, because that would have been his competition. That's another king in your land. And so what happens, he tells the Magi, hey, once you find him, let me go see him. Let me go worship him. But the Magi, are spoken to, and, we read in Scripture that they do not go back and tell Herod where Jesus is. As we keep walking through this story, this chapter of Scripture, we see Herod is filled with rage because the Magi don't come back and tell him where Jesus is. And so while in between the time of the Magi going to see him and Herod figuring this out, we see that Jesus and his parents have escaped to Egypt. So they have moved on, they're out. And the reason they go to Egypt, it wasn't just random. It was because the angel told them, but it was also to continue to fulfill the prophecy that was spoken in the Old Testament. We see in verse 15 that says, "Out of Egypt I called my son." So eventually, Jesus and his family are going to come out of Egypt, and that is when that prophecy will be fulfilled. And so we continue reading. Eventually, after Herod figures out that he is outsmarted and that the Magi are not coming to tell him where Jesus is, he says, well, maybe if I can't find him on my own, I'm just going to kill off everybody else. So he puts out this decree to kill all the baby boys in hope of wiping out Jesus. And to be completely honest, we don't know if Herod believed he actually was able to kill Jesus, because we know that Jesus was in Egypt. And so eventually, after Herod passes away, it is safe for Jesus and his family to come back to Nazareth. And we don't know how long they were in Egypt. We just know that they stayed away for a while and then eventually came back after Herod's death. So today, what's the point of the Scripture? Well, one, you get lots of background information on Jesus, on his early years before really his ministry started. But we continue to see God's providential plan as it was told before Christ, and now that Christ is here, we continue to see the way the Lord has worked from the beginning, and now he is working through Jesus. As his prophecy is fulfilled, he is continuing to show his people his promise. Now, they don't know this yet, but this is what we're seeing, what Matthew is writing about. He's connecting the dots for the people now. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.